Greetings. This is St. Mark's Episcopal Church, Richmond, Texas. I am Chris Abbott, the Christian formation teacher for the Kids Kingdom class, grades 1 through 5. We are continuing to gather on YouTube. Of course, it would be wonderful to be back together at church and upstairs in our classroom, but being as we still can't do that, this is the next best alternative, and it allows us to continue with our study of God's world and the Bible and moving forward in that manner. So I miss all of you and are sorry that we're not together, but I'm glad you're here with me now and we can be together in this manner. As I mentioned last week, if you haven't already signed up, it's not too late to do so, and contact either me or the church office and we'll make sure that we get you a copy of the Children's Illustrated Bible and the brown supply bag so that you have all the things to be able to do to complete the activity for the week that goes with the lesson. We will begin in prayer. Gracious God, we are surrounded by serpents and temptations. Thank you for your faithfulness. Help us make good choices today and every day. Amen. We're continuing with our study in the Old Testament of Adam and Eve. We started last week and we're continuing now this week. And we will go back and read the story again just to refresh it in our minds and make sure that we know what the focus of the story is. So, if you would open your Bibles to page 20 and 21. And I have, you'll recall, the pictures that represent the different important parts of the story as we go along. The Garden of Eden. In the east, in Eden, God made a garden in which he grew every tree and plant, and at the center stood the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. God put man into the garden, telling him he might eat any fruit he wished, except from the tree of knowledge, for if he were to eat that, he would die. God brought to man Adam, all the animals, so that he might name them. God then sent Adam into a deep sleep, and while he slept, took out one of his ribs and made it a woman, so that Adam would have a wife. Both Adam and Eve, his wife, walked naked and happy in the garden and had no need for clothes. Now the serpent, the most devious of all living creatures, questioned Eve, asking her if she could eat any fruit she pleased. Yes, she said, any fruit except that from the tree of knowledge. If we eat that, we die. But you'll not die, said the serpent. Instead, you will discover the difference between good and evil, and so will be equal with God. The woman gazed at the tree and was tempted by the juicy fruit that would make her wise. She picked one and ate it and gave one to her husband, and he ate it. And they looked at each other, and they became aware of their nakedness. They quickly gathered some fig leaves, which they sewed together to cover themselves. In the cool of the evening, they heard the voice of the Lord as God walked in the garden, and they hid so that God would not see them. God called to Adam, Adam, where are you? Adam said, I heard your voice and I was afraid, so I hid. If you are afraid, then I know you must have eaten from the tree whose fruit I told you not to eat. It was the woman who gave me the fruit. And Eve said, it was the serpent who tempted and deceived me. Then God cursed the serpent and banished him from the garden. He gave clothes to Adam and Eve, saying, now that you know both good and evil, you must leave Eden. If cannot stay for fear you might eat also from the tree of life. And if you did that, you would live forever. And God drove them out of the garden into the world, and at the east of Eden he stationed cherubim and placed a flaming sword to guard the entrance to the garden and to the tree of life. All right, let's dig a little bit deeper into the story. What did Adam and Eve do that disobeyed God? Well, they ate the forbidden fruit. He had clearly told them that they were not to do that, and yet with the temptation from the serpent, they just went right ahead and did what they wanted to do, not what God had told them to do. So, we talked about this last week. What are the things that people do to disobey God today? Lie, cheat, steal, they're mean, they're unkind. All of those would be things that God would not want us to be doing. Why did Adam and Eve hide from God? Well, they knew they had done the wrong thing, and they were naked. They were afraid. They were embarrassed. They knew they had to ask for forgiveness. They just didn't know how to do any of that, and that's why they tried to hide. But do you really think that God knew where they were and that God had, he knew that they had stolen the fruit? Of course he did. He's calling to them and he's asking them where they are and what they've done. He already knows. So what is God expecting? God is expecting them to say, oh, we made a mistake. We shouldn't have done that. We disobeyed your rule. We didn't follow what you told us to do. We're sorry. We shouldn't have done that. We won't do that again. That's what God was hoping to hear from them. He wanted them to talk to him. He wanted them to express their forgiveness and that they were sorry. Okay? God really wants to be our friend. He's calling to all of us. He's talking to all of us all of the time. He's telling us what we should and shouldn't be doing. And how should you feel about that? You should feel good about that. God loves you. He wants you to do the right thing. He's talking to you. He's guiding you. He's giving you direction. He's telling you what you should or shouldn't be doing. And you should be listening to the things that he's telling you. That's a good thing. He's your friend. He loves you. Is there something that separates you from God? It's sin. It's when you do the wrong thing. It's when you're not following his directions and you're not doing what he wants you to do. That separates us from God. And that's not a good thing because he loves us and we need to be with him and we need to have his guidance and direction. So, God, of course, got angry and he kicked Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden, and they had to leave because he was disappointed with them. He was mad at them. He was angry at them because they had not followed his direction and his rules. So, the challenge for the week ahead for you is to try and listen to God. When is he talking to you? When is that little voice telling you, don't do that, or yes, you need to do this. You need to help this person. You need to be kind to this person. You need to reach out to this person and help them do something they can't do. That would be following God's direction and listening to his call. And that is what the challenge for this week is, to listen to his call and see if you can follow his direction. All right. Now, in your supply bag this week, your bag, this was for Sunday, September the 20th, our second Sunday of Adam and Eve. You should have gotten a set of watercolors and a watercolor brush and watercolor paper. Watercolor paper is real thick and it's real sturdy, and that's why it's called watercolor paper, because when you paint with watercolor, the paper obviously gets wet and it gets kind of flappy, and you have to have good sturdy paper to be watercolor paper. And you got an assortment of colored construction paper. What you're going to be doing is creating a picture from the Garden of Eden. Using the watercolors first on the watercolor paper, you're going to be able to paint a background. Earth, sky, lake, whatever you want as the background on the paper. And let the paper dry a little bit. All right? And then you're going to use the construction paper I gave you to make the things that are in the Garden of Eden. And I put a couple of bushes and the tree, and of course the leaves, and here are the apples on the tree, and a sun. You're not using scissors. This is torn, all torn. And then when it's done, glue it to your background and you have a picture of the Garden of Eden. Just like last week, I asked your parents to send me some pictures of your Garden of Eden so I can see what your Garden of Eden looks like, being as we're not together. It'd be nice to have a chance to take a look at your garden and get a chance to see what you created in your torn paper and watercolor production. As always, we will conclude with saying the Lord's Prayer together, so I invite you to join me for this. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you for joining me for our second lesson of Adam and Eve on Sunday, September the 20th. I'm glad you were here. Thank you for joining me, and I will look forward to seeing you next week for the conclusion of our Adam and Eve study together. Thank you. Bye-bye from St. Mark's.